Yesterday we were saying how by cultivating Satipatthana, where mindfulness, one is cultivating concentration and knowledge at the same time. We also explained both from the theoretical and practical aspects. And if one is able to note any obvious object, any of the four objects of attention, such as Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, Dhamma, with quality sati of high quality, mindfulness of high quality, then one is bound to cultivate concentration and knowledge. This is in accordance with the maxims given by the late Venerable Paṇḍitā Sayadaw. Also, it is in accordance with the Satipatthana exposition on the four conditions of mindfulness. And also in accordance with the Buddha's message, namely Sato Sambhajano, to be mindful and fully aware, noting and knowing. This way of practice, the way of mindfulness, is tantamount to practicing the Samasati, making up the path of right mindfulness. Then, as one notes the object, as one is able to activate one's mindfulness with the object, there's bound to be this concentration. Concentration will grow, and so it'll accompany, or it'll follow as a natural course. This sati, samasati. Samadhi will follow sati. This is in accordance with the saying, if one tries to cultivate the cause, one will gain or realize the effect automatically. As for the samadhi, the path of right concentration, there are four things, four jhanas that has been given in terms of four jhanas, four kinds of absorptions. And one is Upacara, the highest method has been shown up to the stage of Apana Samadhi, the one-pointed concentration. Here, this is another occasion to explain these four jhanas, four absorptions. And the next one given is the lowest form of Samadhi, concentration, such as Upacara Samadhi, neighborhood concentration. So, all these two things, Apana Samadhi, one-pointed concentration, and Upacara Samadhi, the neighborhood concentration, can can cause the purification of the mind, Chaita Visuddhi. So, as much as one is able to overcome nivaranas with Upacara Samadhi, with neighborhood concentration, so too, Vipassana Kanika Samadhi, insight momentary concentration also will be able to overcome nivaranas. So this Upacara Samadhi here also can be taken as Kanika Samadhi, momentary concentration. So such has been given in the commentaries, in the text. So in this way, we come to conclude that there are three kinds of concentration. One is Upacara Samadhi, neighborhood concentration. Second one is Apana Samadhi, one-pointed concentration. And third one is Kanika Samadhi, momentary concentration. This Upacara Samadhi, neighborhood concentration, is practiced by the yogis, samatha yogis. Yogis are practicing samatha, tranquility meditation, or to gain mundane absorptions, jhana. Noting or paying attention to one conceptual object, trying to pay attention and be fix one's mindfulness on the conceptual object. Then when one is able to do that, one will be free from hindrances such as the hindrance of sensual pleasures. And in such manner too, in the case of Vipassana yogi, insight practitioner, if one is able to pay attention meticulously on the psychophysical objects, such as beginning with the main object of rising and falling, then as one is able to cultivate this Kanika Samadhi continuously, building up momentum, one is able to overcome these hindrances, just like Upacara Samadhi. So just you can put it to test through your personal experience. In the beginning of the practice, of course, although yogis are instructed to note rising and falling and may any obvious object arising, most cases they are not able to do so because the mind is restless and there's a lot of distractions. Later, as one becomes matured in one's practice, one's gained maturity in one's practice and becomes skilled with the dedication of mindfulness, at times one is able to concentrate for 1 minute, later 2 minutes, activating mindfulness so that the mind falls calm and collected on the object of attention, by which one is able to overcome in like manner is free from kamachanda, nirvana, hindrances of progress, beginning with the hindrance of sense of pleasures. So as much as one is able to overcome these hindrances with the cultivation of upachara samadhi, neighborhood concentration, one is able to do that with the khanika samadhi, momentary concentration. So they are the same thing. They have the same quality by way of overcoming nirvana, hindrances. So as much as just like Vipassana, khanika samadhi, upachara samadhi, it's like Vipassana samadhi. It is one is able to cultivate this kind of concentration harmoniously, continuously, in one continuous flow. Just like this, the upachara samadhi, which is the neighborhood concentration, next to absorption, one can take it as citta visuddhi, purification of mind. With the upachara samadhi, one can purify one's mind, or one can reach the purification of the mind. So too with the khanika samadhi, it can cause this mental purification. It can purify the mind, citta visuddhi. It can be considered as the reason for purification of the mind. Just like upachara samadhi, even the apana samadhi, which is higher than upachara samadhi, has been equated, compared to khanika samadhi, or khanika samadhi is compared to apana samadhi more than upachara samadhi, on the same level. And this has been given in the text clearly. Especially 1 or 2 weeks after we began this discourse, Sayadaw described the quality of khanika samadhi, and in that he has already explained the quality of khanika samadhi has been on the same level as apana samadhi. So in the text is given this khanika chitta ekagata. This one point, the momentary concentration, kanamata titiko samadhi. It is when you note, when you concentrate your mind momentarily, this can be said as momentary concentration, kanamata titiko samadhi. For instance, in your body, what you are noting, any mind-body object as it arises, it is momentary. It won't take a very long time. Maybe a matter of a few seconds or for a second. And the mind falls calm and collected. The concentration grows. Just momentary. Mind is concentrated. Hence it is called kanamata titiko samadhi, or in short, khanika samadhi. So in like manner, just like upachara samadhi or apana samadhi, this khanika samadhi has the same quality as the apana samadhi, instilling the bhavana mind, bhavana citta, the meditative mind. It can still, or it can concentrate the bhavana mind, meditative mind, just like apana samadhi, on the same level as the absorption concentration or one-pointed concentration. In what way? When Patipakena Anapibuto. When one is able to overcome these undermining elements, that means one is not overwhelmed by the undermining elements, or one is free from nirvana hindrances to progress. Then this Kanika Samadhi has the same quality as Apana Samadhi in stilling the bhavana mind, bhavana chitta. And this is when one is free from nirvanas. Aramana nirandana. That means without any gap. When your concentration is flowing like a current without gap, when you are noting the immediately arising object, when you are with the present, then if you are able to activate your mindfulness continuously without leaving any gap, in such a way as the preceding mindfulness is continuous with the succeeding one, and the preceding concentration is continuous with the succeeding concentration, there will be no gap. So that in this situation, object of attention may differ, but the concentration will not differ, will be the same continuous flow. So that the first concentration and second concentration, the third concentration, all these things are flowing in the same way, in the same kind, without any difference. Ekana karena is given by the expression ekana karena, just in one continuous flow, like current, without any gap, free from nirvanas, not being undermined by these hindrances to progress. And such is the kind of samadhi, which is on the same level as apana samadhi, by which one can still the bhavana mind. In this way, in the text, the Kanika Samadhi has been qualified as being on the same level as apana samadhi. If the Vipassana yogi is able to activate this Vipassana samadhi so that it becomes in full force, it is intensified, then as regards the object noted or concentrated, one is bound to see the sabhavas, the true nature of objects, and in order to do so, one path, Meganga, arises, namely Sama Sankappa Meganga, the path of right aim. The one kind of Meganga is to be understood. When it happens, then one's mind is inclining, is bent towards the object, so that the noted mind becomes concurrent with the object. Because one is taking an aim, such as Sammasankappa Meganga, the path of right aim. Initially also, one is taking an aim at the object every time the object arises. And when one, in the course of the practice, one is able to cultivate this Vipassana Kanika Samadhi inside momentary concentration and strengthen it, intensify it, and so that one is bound to see the true nature of these objects noted, such as the nature of materiality, the nature of mentality, and their causal mode and the universal marks of existence, with the Sammasankappa Meganga, right, the path of right aim, as one is taking an aim to be concurrent with the object, as much as the noted mind is concurrent with the object, then one is bound to cultivate another path, Meganga, namely Samadhi Meganga, the path of right view or understanding, seeing the true nature of things. And this is how one is able to cultivate this knowledge. When one is free from the hindrances, nirvanas, and as one is strengthening this Kanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, in the beginning of this Kanika Samadhi, then in the beginning of mental purity, purification of the mind, Chaita Visuddhi, one is able to differentiate between the materiality and mentality, such as the noted object is one thing and the noting mind is another. When you are noting rising, you come to know that rising is one thing and noting mind is another. In this way you are able to discriminate between these two things. And the rising takes place in terms of stiffness, tension and movement. That is one section, one part. And the noting mind mentality is another part, another thing. And when you are noting falling, you come to know that falling is one thing, and noting of falling is another. Falling, which is made up of relaxation, movement, and so on, is one thing, just separate thing, and the noting mind which notes these mentalities or these materialities is another. In this way you are able to differentiate between materiality and mentality. So too when you are walking, at the moment of walking, when you are noting lifting, moving and placing, at that moment you are able to differentiate between mentality and materiality. Such as a noted object, the lifting, moving and placing are materiality, and noting them as lifting, moving and placing, the noted noting mind is mentality. In this way, same thing with other objects. As you note, the noted object is materiality, and the noting mind is mentality. In this way, you are able to differentiate between materiality and mentality. And such a knowledge is not from hearsay or conceptual knowledge, or from your fantasies, or from book knowledge, or from teachers. It is not, because such knowledge is not a real knowledge. It cannot be a clear-cut knowledge. Here, you are noting and knowing. You are knowing by noting, without any fantasies or imaginations. As has been said yesterday, noting in the spirit of the way of mindfulness, Satipatthana. If you are able to activate your mindfulness, you are bound to observe these things clearly and without any flaws, so that when you are able to activate your way of mindfulness, practice of mindfulness, it is said that you are able to, samadhi and knowledge also will arise automatically. This you can compare with your personal experience. By continuing mindfulness, and as you are able to strengthen your samadhi and develop knowledge, as they become very strong, then you are bound to see another stage of insight knowledge, namely the cause and effect. And this is how you know this cause and effect. Because you want to bend, you bend. Because you want to stretch, because you have the intention to stretch, there is a stretching process. Because there is intention to walk, you walk. Because you have the eye, there arises the seeing consciousness. Because of the ear, you have the hearing consciousness. Because there is an object, and there is a noting mind. Because you are lucky, good karma, you see and experience good things. In this way, you are able to discern the conditionality of mind and body. Let us say, at the moment of bending your arm or legs, if you are able to practice by way of Satipatthana, in the spirit of Satipatthana, as you go on noting in the course of the practice, you will come to observe this bending or stretching process, which is a materiality in stages, as a result of intention to bend or stretch, which also arises in stages. They are not causeless, they are due to cause or causes, and here there's no command from Supreme Being involved. Nobody is commanding. No Supreme Being is involved in it. What is present is the mentality, namely the intention, or the desire to bend or stretch, which is the cause, and the materiality, the bending or stretching process, which is the effect. In this way, you come to understand the cause and effect, and that's all you have. There's nothing more. There's no command from Paramatma Supreme Being. What happens, what exists is the mentality and materiality. Materiality and stages as a result of mentality. This is quite obvious. And now here also, the cause arises in a relevant manner. That means relevant cause giving rise to relevant effect. Let us say Sayadaw is talking and you hear the voice. Yogis hear the voice because there is the ear, you can hear. If there is no ear, you cannot hear. So because of the ear, the presence of the ear, there is the hearing consciousness. So the wave, sound waves and the ear are materialities. The cause and the hearing consciousness, mentality is an effect in this case. So here also there is a relevancy between cause and effect. Because of the relevant cause, there arises the relevant effect. Such linkage is observed at the moment of mindfulness. And such is the true knowledge. And by observing in the spirit of Satipatthana, by way of mindfulness, one comes to realize the true knowledge. That is how one observes cause and effect. When one is able to strengthen his concentration and insight, one is bound to see the rising and passing away of the noting mind and noted object. Everything is in a state of constant flux, of the old giving place to the new. For example, when you are watching a film, the actors in the film are moving in different ways. And even if you show slow motion, they are moving from one manner, one way of movement to another. There are many movements actually, even if the film is shown in a slow speed. So these movements also can be seen as in constant flux, the old giving place to the new. And that is how one comes to observe the rising and passing away, and then comes to conclusion that all these things are impermanent. So one will not be able to see the impermanent nature of mind and body which are not noted. But as regards the objects noted, one sees the transitory nature of this mind body, that everything is in a state of flux. One sees the truth, and when once one sees the truth, one will refuse or deny the concept of permanence. So in the body are these mind body rising and passing away, which are called anicca Dhamma, the impermanent states, because they are the nature of rising and passing away. In this way, as one activates mindfulness as they are, in their own true nature, one will come to see the mind and body in a discriminating manner as being impermanent. And once one sees the truth, one will refute or deny the concept of the perception of permanence. And it is tantamount to say that one comes to confess their impermanent nature of mind and body. Just like when we are examining the culprit, the criminal, by the police, then after some time, this criminal or culprit, the accused, comes to confess at last. So if you are able to practice mindfulness in a dedicated manner, you are bound to see the truth in the end, so that you will refute or deny the concept of permanence, and you come to confess the permanence, confess that all things are impermanent. If one sees the impermanent nature of objects, then one will also come to understand that they are unsatisfactory. Once you see them as being unsatisfactory, you come to see the nature of anatta, that they are not atta, not self or soul. That there is no such thing as atta in the mind and body, nor the mind and body are atta. So they're just the process rolling on, just the nature. And once one sees the truth with the practice of mindfulness, as has been said yesterday in the spirit of Satipatthana, one is bound to see the truth of, one is bound to develop concentration and knowledge correctly. That means not through concepts or not through fantasies, not through hearsay or imaginations, but from your own personal experience. And you are seeing things as they are. This is seeing the true knowledge. In this way, one is able to see differently his mind and body as separate things. Like as we have discussed, when you are watching a film on the screen, as much as you are paying attention, even when the film is shown in a slow motion, you are going to see the movements of these every movement of actors in the film. So too, when you are able to concentrate your mind, activate your mindfulness on the object, mind or body object, materiality, mentality, Dhamma, Rupa, with the strong concentration and knowledge, you will see the changes in different ways. In a sense, when you look at the current flowing, you think this is the same water in the stream or river, but when you actually pay attention, you will see the old giving place to the new, the old water drops flowing away, giving place to the new water drops. Although they may appear as the same or harmonious, the same thing over and over again, but when you pay attention, it is not so. You will see them as the old drops giving place to the new. The same thing goes with his Nama-Rupa, mentality, materiality. You will see them as being in a state of constant flux with the strong samadhi and jnana. In this way, one is able to discern the conditionality of mind and body, seeing them with their own practice of Satipatthana, that the cause and effect, there's the linkage of cause and effect, and not only just a simple linkage, but also the relevant cause giving rise to relevant effect. It is their own respective cause giving rise to respective effect. And because of the intention to bend, there is a bending process, not a stretching process. And bending process, intention is a cause which arises continuously or by stages. And giving rise to causing the actual bending process, which is a materiality, the effect of intention also happens in stages. That also can be seen only by dedicated yogis who can practice respectfully, carefully, moving slowly like a sick person, and not by marginal yogis who are slack, for whom these things will not be seen even if they practice the whole life. Because one sees the cause and effect process, the linkage of cause and effect clearly. This is one comes to cultivate this kind of insight knowledge as regards the discernment of conditionality, seeing the cause and effect process. And one comes to resolve or decide that there is this cause and effect process. And by knowing this cause and effect process in the present case, one will also deduce that this conditionality would have existed in the past and will also exist in the future, as much as it exists in the present case, as being observed with personal experience, with the practice of mindfulness. Such things are bound to happen, as much as in the present. It might have happened in the past and also will happen in the future. In this way, one overcomes skeptical doubt regarding the linkage of cause and effect. One comes to acceptance and firm resolve, which is cultivating saddha, faith and confidence. In this way, seeing that mind and body are not permanent, they are not even stable for one short moment, then one comes to believe that they are impermanent. This also is seeing the truth or knowing the truth. And also seeing the unsatisfactory nature of mind and body, that they are unsatisfactory, also is seeing the truth, knowing the truth. and that whatever is unsatisfactory cannot be said also. There's no atta in it. They themselves are not atta, nor there is atta in them. Is known through mindfulness, through the practice of mindfulness. This also, seeing the dukkha anatta also is seeing the truth. So, by seeing the truth, it's an amount to practicing or gaining the samadhi, bringing up the path of right view or understanding. And knowing the truth is called samadhi, bringing up. And in order to see the truth, one inclines one's mind towards the object to be noted, so that the noting mind becomes concurrent with the object of attention, and concurrent such path, making it concurrent or aiming, is known as Samma Sankappa Vanga, the path of right aim. So this has been given in the 8th sentence with 8 words in it by the Buddha, in brief, namely Buddham Buddhato Pasari, Buddham, the conditioned psychophysical phenomena which can be experienced directly. Buddhato Pasari can be seen as it is, as they are, such as one sees the causal mode as it exists. One sees the cause and effect process of mind and body as it exists. One sees the cause and effect process of mind and body as it exists. One sees the